back. Yep.
Hello? World? Alright, we're breaking Instagram rules. We're doing 2 back-to-back. Because why not?
There you go. We got time. We got the time.
Hey, cheers. Thank you again for doing this.
Salud. Thanks for having me.
We have upgraded from water to juice.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Corn juice.
So, while we were in our intermission, it's very theater of us,
Right.
actually. I like that. While we were in our intermission, you showed me literally the graph that you made that was sort of like a like a mission of like an accomplishment list.
Yeah.
And I'd love for you to show the people
What happened there? This situation.
the one before the L word and then the one leading to Lone Star, because it's
kind of uncanny.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So like,
And then
I was getting like very specific like with my goals, right? So I made sure that like I'm trying to start the year out. I'm gonna divide the year up into like 4 quarters. I got like 4 really good friends from New York, and they introduced me to this concept like 4th quarter living. So you divide it up, and you at the end of like the 3 months, you kind of check and see like how you're doing on your things. Need you to adjust what worked, what didn't work, that kind of thing. So it's like, all right, what's my goal? And I told you at first it was challenging because I wouldn't be specific. Like I was. Like lying to myself about what I really wanted, or kind of being in denial because I had some ideas like that goal is too big, and like some old things that people had told me back in the day. I was like still carrying around like Hollywood is a pipe dream, and like
Yes.
just be happy to do the craft, and like I was believing in that more so than like the pull that I was having inside me. And then like at a certain point I realized, no, what do you really want? You say it, you write it, and go for that thing. So like I sat down there and I wrote it. And I got specific, and I noticed that was like kind of working. And then when I have the big specific goal, I can work on like smaller, like benchmark goals that then like I can break it down to like little actions that I could take, in a day, or like at the end of the week I want to complete this action or whatever. And they also be contributing to that major goal, right? So that was like my method. And so I was like, let me get very specific about my goal. And so the goal that I had like 4 for 2017, and like. This didn't manifest until 2019, but it's like, it is what it is. But I got real specific, and I was like, I really want to be cast in an ensemble TV show as a trans male character with some stars and some strong actors, and hold my own because the role and story resonate with me, and my process is well exercised and understood. This TV show brings me to LA.
What happens next, Brian?
Well, I came out to LA after like some really serious internal debate too. I was like, I don't know if I should go. I don't know, my wife, she's like attached to New York, I don't know. But I'm going to go to LA for like 3 months. I'll be here from April to June. I'm going to learn the lay of the land. So if this is something that we are going to do, I can at least give her some information when I get back, and I'll go back and blah, blah, blah. And so I got here, I was working on that goal, and like as soon as I got here, I like got an audition for the L Word. And so I auditioned for the L Word. I felt really good about the audition.
Shout out to the L Word.
Hey, yes, Generation Q, thank you very much. And so I did the audition, and I ended up booking the role. And I was like, this is amazing. I'm so excited. This is a step up. It's a recurring guest star. It's like a strong role that I've had in anything else. Characters trans. I really like the creative team. I would work with Marjorie Ryan Lewis. She's like amazing. I love working in the room with her. She has a trans male like. Was her assistant,
Wow.
So I'm like, this is great.
Wow.
The showrunner's assistant with the trans guy. Like,
Yeah.
This is next level. This is great. So I was very excited, for that. And then we weren't going to start filming until I think like July. So I had like some time in between. And so I was like, okay, well, I've reached this goal that's been on my board for like 2 years. Like, what's my goal now? Like I started, kind of working. I was like, well, I do want to be a series regular because you get to take a character on a longer journey.
Oh yeah.
There's deeper work. I mean, like I think it's what I want to do. Like I'm a theater person, so I like that developing a character over time thing. I feel like that's what I want to do, And so I was like, well, write it down because that's honestly what you want. So in May, I changed my goal and I said, all right, I want to be cast as a series regular in an ensemble, action-oriented procedural TV show that keeps me working in LA and increases my footprint, which is 911 Lone Star.
Like, come on, that's bizarre.
Like word for word, And I remember another day, like we felt like very serendipitous because I'm sitting with my good friend Alex, who was somebody I was able to couch sit with, right? And we're at this David Makes Man premiere, which is an amazing show that's on just won a Peabody, by the way. So we're sitting there, we're at the premiere of this. It's great. I'm excited to be in the room with people from my Queen Sugar family, the Home family. We're just very excited, and he asked me, like, well, what do you really want to do? Like, what if you could do anything, what would you dream about? I'm like, yeah, I would love to play cop or something like that, like first responder shows. I really like this about those shows. I like what when people are pushing their limits, how they show up, and like there's just a lot about that kind of work that I want to do. And as soon as I stopped talking to him, I said it, and I got an email from my manager like 911 Lone Star spinoff series regular casting for a trans male character. I was like, are you kidding me? And like we looked at each other like, oh, right? This is what I knew. Again, this is when I was like, you're on the path. So we're there. We're very excited about that. I'm like, oh, this is great. I got a couple days to prepare for this. Wonderful. We're getting ready to watch the show. They bring out the creative team behind the show, and they bring out a special guest to introduce the head creator, Terrell Adam McCready. I'm like, who? Oprah.
What?
Oprah comes out. I'm like, oh snap, in the same room as Oprah. I'm hyped as all get out. I'm like, Oprah's here. So I pull out my phone. I'm like, and I'm breathing the same oxygen as Oprah Winfrey. I'm recording it. I'm like, this is amazing. She gives a really great speech. He talks about the development of his show and why he's doing the work that he does. I'm very inspired. I watched the show. It is beautiful. It is amazing work. And they finished. I'm starving. I have to use the bathroom. So I'm like, everybody's like talking. And I'm like, I'm going to get upstairs to where the food and stuff is now. So I can like get the food and do my thing before it gets crowded. So I get upstairs. Me and Alex were like, pilfering around. We're looking for stuff to eat. We get across these like food. I'm eating my little slider and I turn around and there's Oprah. Oh, just free range Oprah, just living her best life. Like no posse or anything. She's there. She sees me see her. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is okay. Engage, talk. There's Oprah. Talk to Oprah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hi, Oprah. Hi.
You shake her hand?
Well, I wanted to, but I had a slider. So I'm like, Oprah. Oprah. I've always wanted to meet you. So I was like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've thought about this since I was a kid. Like, she's inspired me.
Yeah.
I'm like, we haven't met yet, but I wanted to introduce myself. She goes, I know who you are.
Oh my God.
That's what I said. What the fuck? I was like, excuse me? And she's like, yeah, Queen Sugar, the episode that you just saw the other day, and I saw it, and I'm like, I saw the first episode you did. You were remarkable.
Oh,
Ronen.
From Oprah?
Oprah said that to my face, bro.
Oh my God, what is going
to
on?
my face? I was like, you know what? This is.
You are on the path, my friend.
I think that's probably why I did so well in the Lone Star audition. Like, Oprah telling me my life is good.
I don't need anybody else.
Shoot, I felt great. I was like, this is amazing. So that was another like sign for me that like I'm on the path. So I felt
your
like,
signs are so loud.
Are they crazy? Like, it's like, do you need to know it?
It's like Leo, Oprah. Okay, I think we're on the right path.
Yeah, so
that's amazing,
yeah,
dude.
It was like what a night. And if my buddy Alex wasn't there, I would have had no idea. Like I was like, is this real? Is this real? I had a whole conversation with somebody I admired like so much, and like she knew who I was. That's when I'm like, oh, I've moved to a different space. And then we started actually working on the show, and then like a lot of the experience that I got from like actually doing the work that I like wished for, and then feeling like it took this long for a reason. Like all the things I had to learn, all the stuff I had to master. Because if I got this opportunity before, I don't think I would have been able to show up in the way that I did. I don't think I would have been prepared to talk about things, to be as vulnerable as I needed to be for that level of visibility and representation. Like that episode we did Studs, like I don't know if I would have been brave enough to do that 3 or 4 years ago. But where I am now, or where I was when we shot that in my life, I'm like, I understood the value of it and why I needed to push my own comfort zone to bring that story, the truth that it needed, you know?
It's also, it's that perfect timing and that like everything came together. It's like 4 years ago, shows like this didn't exist on network television. No way. So it literally took until 2019 for Ryan Murphy to be like, this is the kind of character I want to show, and this is the kind of character I want the show to represent. And of course you were there. You were literally destined for this role.
I mean, it was.
It's like, and now it's one of the biggest shows on television. Like that's crazy. Because 4 years ago, 2 years ago, it wasn't. There's nothing like this.
And I mean, I think that's the value of having like representation behind the scenes.
Yes.
You know, and having like someone like Ryan and like Tim working on a show like this who know that the responsibility in their hands and knowing that, you know, we are going to create these roles. We're going to create these characters that come from an authentic place. We're going to bring people into this room who can help contribute to telling these stories in the most authentic way possible.
Yes, exactly.
You know, like having that support and knowing that we're going to bring the people in here to make sure that the stories we're telling are are right or like are real at the very least is like so important. And you're absolutely right. Like I was looking and hoping for like work like this, to have a character like Paul. Like again, there was no character like him.
No.
You know, for me to even aspire to. You know, so now I feel like we're in a much better place where we do have these characters that you can aspire to on our show and across the board. You know, like when you have shows like Pose, you have shows like Billions with non-binary characters. Yeah, Deputy was on our network and they had a non-binary character. So it's like it gives people like me aspirations of what is possible for them when they thought for such a long time it wasn't.
Yes,
so,
and now it's literally the first one in network television history. Now, something extremely historic is happening in the world.
Yeah.
And it's happening, of course, in this country. The Black Lives Matter movement. I want to ask you your perspective of things. How did we get here? Why are we here? And how do we maintain this trajectory for actual change? How do we maintain this revolution that is happening? How do we make sure that it keeps moving forward? And how do we make sure that it's not just another trending topic? Or how do we make sure that it's not just like a hashtag? And everything that sort of we've talked about, one of the main things that sort of stick out is inspiration and being at the right place at the right time. And I think we are in a very special time where we can make change on such a massive scale and truly wake people up and shake them by their shoulders and be like, this is what's happening. This has been happening for far too fucking long. And now that all of you are forced to see it, how do we do something about it? And please, this cannot be just another thing that was like, oh, remember like the protest in 2020? Yeah. No, absolutely not.
Yeah, no, we're absolutely at a point where major change is happening, but it's going to take a sustained effort to maintain.
Also,
and to see it
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
It's one of the very few times that major change is wanted and requested from the masses. And that doesn't happen very often.
In the present, I would say so for sure. I feel like we're seeing something that is cyclical in this country because, like, the way this country has been set up, there's inequality just inherent in the way that it was set up. You know, like even though the words on the page of the Constitution and these documents that the forefathers were said something, the actual mechanisms that that sustained the country and built the country didn't reflect that.
Exactly.
And so it was built on inequality. It's sustained. Like we are in a capitalist society, which means that someone has to capitalize on somebody else. And so it can be sustained for a certain period of time, but after a while, people who realize that they have power and strength in numbers, that they are being oppressed, say enough is enough. And what has happened in this country is that the people who are being oppressed, and usually it be based on a system of white supremacy, the people who are of color who are being suppressed, black people who are being suppressed in this country, we say that we are having enough, we fight back, we meet resistance. But then people who are white realize, hey, we are also being oppressed by this system as well, and this isn't serving us. You know what I mean? And we're being pit against one another.
Exactly.
You know, and then once we realize that we're being pit against one another while someone else or other people or the mechanism in place is taking advantage of all of us, we get together and we say enough is enough, and then we have a clash and a fight, and either major change happens that keeps us at a certain I don't want to say necessarily peace, but it calls for major change. Change does happen, but not complete. So what's been happening is we've had like these incomplete moments of revolution because it ends up getting suppressed, or you get worn down so much fighting for what you need to have happen that you take concessions in a way that don't lead for lasting change.
Exactly.
Right. So as long as this country is set up under a white supremacist, system of capitalization, this is going to keep happening, right? And what's been happening is people kind of in the middle who feel like they're not at the top and they don't have that much power, but they're benefiting from the power structure. Like they can be dormant for a while until it oppresses everyone, and then they go, oh wait, this is not good. So what's happening is we're at a moment right now where people who have been dormant are like, this isn't good. It's not good for anyone, and a threat, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So I can't have peace, or you know what most people are seeing right now, who are now recognizing what Black Lives Matter movement really is about. They're like, how can we sit here and act like we have peace when other human beings are being subjugated, and my inactivity is contributing to it?
Exactly.
And so a lot of people are realizing that
this didn't just happen.
It didn't just happen. It's been going on for
hundreds of years.
For a long time. Like that's just the nature of this country, and like people are benefiting from it, from not taking action, and now they're realizing that okay, I'm going to have to make some sacrifices if I really want to live up to the ideals of what I say I'm about and what I say my country is about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like that's why more people are starting to get involved.
Oh, yeah.
Because like how long can you look at it? And I think it was easy to sweep under the rug in the past because we didn't have so much video and we didn't have so much people-driven media. Like social media has been great because it's literally coming from the people and they're showing this is what we are going through. You cannot look away, and I'm not going to frame it in a way that vilifies the victims. I'm going to show you the truth, and people are like seeing the truth and they realize I can't ignore it anymore.
No,
and they don't want to. So
in
I'm
your
like,
face.
So I'm like, this is great in terms of people waking up to things, but they have to remember. We all have to remember that it's going to take sustained effort. So the feeling and the emotion that you have right now from seeing those images of George Floyd being murdered, from knowing what happened to Breonna Taylor, from hearing about the trans women that are being murdered, you have these feelings and you're taking this immediate action and response. I'm like, that's amazing, that's great. Please keep doing it because we have a lot of dismantling to do. If we really want the change that we're asking for.
I mean, we're trying to dismantle hundreds of years of a setup system, of a system that is made to work against the masses. And we're trying to flip it on its back right now. And it's going to take all hands on deck.
It's going to take all hands on deck.
And it won't happen overnight.
No.
It's not going to happen in a couple weeks. No. It won't happen in a couple months.
And it takes, I mean, like the amount of self-reflection that it's going to take, and the amount of personal work that you have to do, you know, to dismantle your own ideas about the systems is going to take work, and it's really uncomfortable.
Of course.
And so sometimes it's okay to be visible and do these like very visible, immediate actions, and then you go out and you feel good about the thing that you did, but you still have that work to do to really tackle your ideas about things and to tackle these habits that people have, you know, like with performative allyship, right? Like, and to listen, you know, like, this is a period for me where, like, you know, I'm learning more about the activist work that has been going on for years for Black lives. You know, I've been doing things through my art, but there are people whose lives have been on organizing protests and movements and coming up with solutions to these problems. So right now we have a lot of people like speaking up, which is great, but I want us to, if we are not comfortable, if we don't know enough about what the activists are doing or what are the actual solutions that, you know, we need to do, then I want to point people in the direction of people who have been doing that work, who have come to the solutions, and then just need our support. You need me to contribute, you know, financially, I will. If you need me to turn the microphone over to what you've been saying and amplify your voice, I will do that. If you need me to, you know, do whatever that I can do to actually contribute in a way that actually moves us forward towards this dismantling and this, like, I don't know what's a good word for it, but it's like we really have to like change this country. So if you are doing that work, I want to help.
Yes.
And I can't.
I mean, we should help.
Yeah.
Everyone should be helping, especially because, like, not to mention, it's literally election year, right? And this literally happened, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago. LeBron James and some of the biggest athletes in all around sports, as well as Kevin Hart, are creating an organization called More Than a Vote. And they are going to personally make sure that Black and brown people are not oppressed anymore when it comes to voting. Because those communities are targeted probably more than any other community in the country when it comes to voting.
Oh, I know.
And
yeah, voter suppression in this country is real.
It's insane.
It's real.
So it's like, it is very easy to say, go out and vote, but we also have to know that it's not that easy for everyone. You know what I mean? Especially the communities that are being affected right now. And he specifically, I just learned this, if you look at it from a follower perspective, he is the highest followed athlete in America, with 136 million people across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and 137 million people voted in 2016. So if we can get people like that, people like us, people that don't have an influence, people that literally can easily talk to their neighbor, talk to their family, talk to their friends, if that complete all hands on deck sort of mentality comes together, then we can actually do something.
Yeah.
And we can do that with voting. We can do that with getting the bills passed that we want to get passed. We can actually make change when everyone is on board.
And this level of change is like a multi-pronged attack. Like, we need to have the protests. You need to have people in the streets disrupting the status quo.
And
so
protesting works throughout history.
It works, right? And then you also need people to financially support that protest. So even if you're not a bodies in the street kind of person, you can donate and you can support. And then you have educators who can like spread the information, you know, to make sure that people know what's going on and they're making informed decisions. You know what I mean? And then you yourself can vote, but before you vote, make sure you are educating yourself about what you're voting for, what's on the table. Because, you know, we know that November there's a huge election, and we're looking at this executive branch, and we need to do that. But then there's all these local and state level elections that are happening. And there are laws that are being passed, like right now, that impact people today. There's laws that are being passed right now that like are against our interests, that are against the interests of other people who maybe you don't necessarily, you know, fit in that community, but it's going to impact you. Like, you know, the Trump administration has just moved, you know, to roll back protections for healthcare for transgender people right now. You know what I mean? And like the Supreme Court has to vote on that. And if you're not paying attention to who you are supporting when it comes to Supreme Court, if you're not speaking up, you know, when it comes to who you're going to vote for in these other places besides the president and these like, you know, higher tier things, then that's what's going to happen. States are passing these anti-trans bills. States are like blocking bills, you know, so you need to know what's going on at the state level. You need to know what's going on like in your local community to make sure that the things that need to happen to make sure that we can live the lives we want to live and that people are protected, people have equal access to healthcare, people have equal rights and their rights are protected. You have to inform yourself. And there's lots of people who are putting that information out. You know, and it's up to you to like educate yourself.
And you know, like for example, like Twitter and Instagram, we have the ability now to spread that information like wildfire. You know what I mean? Because obviously everyone's, like you said, is paying attention to the top. We know a lot about the top. We know about like what he wants and what he wants and why we got to get him out and we got to get him in. You know, but everyone under, like when I voted for the primaries, like there were pages and pages of people that I'm sure not a lot of people have either heard of or even know what they do. And that's what we have to do. We have to educate so you know like who this person is in this job and who this person is in this job, because a lot of people have no idea.
They're not paying attention.
I had no idea.
I mean,
I have to educate myself for days.
We're having a hard time in like paying attention to the things that we have the power to control. Like you can vote for the sheriff, you can vote for, you know,
vote for almost everything.
Everything, right? It's like you can vote for the city council. You can vote for, you know, legislators. So Congress is passing these laws that go against us, and it's like because the legislators have been voted in. But if you vote in somebody who's going to work for the things that are important to you, you have to deal with that. You know what I mean? So the executive branch is important, but so is Congress. So you need to be paying attention to who is running for Congress. And like right now, we've been trying to get anti-lynching legislation passed in this country for 100 years. And the bill was almost passed, but one senator, you know what I mean? One senator blocked it. And like you can vote that person out. We can vote that person out.
Isn't it terrifying that we're literally talking about that fucking word and trying to make it not be a thing anymore in 2020?
100 plus years of work on this.
But again, I always try to find the positive in things, and you have to keep people motivated. Like, we know now. We know that we can actually affect these things. We can affect the people that have power. Because there's so much power when everyone comes together. There's so much power.
You can see it right now.
You can't ignore when the masses come together.
I mean, there's a laundry list of changes that have been happening in relationship to the protests that have been happening now and to the outcry that's been happening now. But there's still a lot more to do. And it's going to take pushing. It's going to take pushing.
So. And I want to, I want to sort of say this without it being, mean or rude, but it's like, please keep moving forward. Please. I heard someone say that you don't have to be in every single lane at the same time right now.
Mm-hmm.
Pick a lane and just keep moving forward in that lane. And if you can inspire someone else to get into another lane, please.
Yeah.
Whether it's spreading information, donating, just retweeting as much information as you can, going to the streets, voting, talking to people, that have influence, talking to people that are in communities, talking to people that are maybe have power in smaller, let's say, governments in your city or even in your neighborhood.
Yes.
We have all these council people. So please, just like, I beg of you, find a lane. Find the lane that you feel you can add to. Find a lane that you're passionate about, and keep it moving forward, because you're going to have so many people join you, and every single lane is going to be filled up, and everyone's moving forward, and that's how we're going to make something happen. And that is the only way change happens, and it happens across the board, whether it's people, children, animals, the planet. Like, this is how change happens. And I beg of you, please do not let this be another trend. Please don't let this be another hashtag. Because people's lives are at risk every single day, every single hour.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 transgender people literally got killed a couple days ago?
Like 2 days ago, yeah.
So it's like every minute counts. And thank you for doing it. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being part of this revolution that hopefully one day we look back on it, man, and then say, man, the human race is an incredible group of people, and we were resilient. Not only were we faced with nationwide protest and unrest and rioting and looting and cities burning down, but we had a pandemic. And if we could get through this, we get through anything.
And just know what you're getting through it for. It's like knowing that racism is a disease in this country that's woven into the fabric that we don't need to deal with anymore, and that we can let go and we can really work through the stop, but you have to play your part in that.
Yes.
Everybody has a part in dismantling racism in this country. You know what I mean? And if this is something you've been uncomfortable with, like,
where do you say it's the biggest pandemic we're dealing with?
Yeah, it's like you gotta push through that discomfort. You gotta be willing to sacrifice some of your comfort for the benefit of the rest of the people in this country, for the benefit of the black people that you love, the black people whose art you consume, for the black people whose athleticism you admire so much. Like, you have to do something to support equality. And that means checking your own thoughts. That means checking your own habits. That means checking your own loved ones. That means stepping outside of your privilege, stepping outside of your comfort, and using that to get the foot off the neck of the black people in this country. You know what I mean? You have to do it.
Quite literally.
Literally.
As brutal as that sounds. And it's like, there's another thing that I keep hearing going around, and it's sort of just a good mentality for a lot of things, is get comfortable in the uncomfortable. Because this is not pleasant. This is like, we're seeing all these horrific images and videos, but it's what's happening. And we have to do something about it, because it's like, who else is gonna?
Nobody.
Who else is gonna?
And it's like, you just kind of gotta care. Like, even if it's not necessarily, like, you know, we tend to attach to people who, like, look like us or, like, you know, resonate. Like, wrong is wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't just be me as a black trans man talking about the death of black trans women. It shouldn't be trans women talking about the death of black trans women. Everyone should be upset about, you know, black trans women being killed. Everyone should be upset about this. And if you are upset, you can take action about it.
I know.
You can do something. Just do something that you've never done before. And I feel like that's what this moment has been about. A lot of people are doing things that they've never done before, and I'm just asking that you continue to do that. No matter how uncomfortable it feels, it's worth it.
Oh, it's worth it. Are you kidding me? It's literally people's lives are at stake, and it's been going on for far too long.
You know, if you're not gonna do this, like, what are we here for? Then what are you here for? If you're not gonna,
I don't know. I can't think of anything. That's not what I'm in this for.
It ain't to just pay bills. I tell you that. Okay, you're here for something greater than that. and you can do something now.
Like let's show our kids and our grandkids how resilient the human race was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let that be a motivation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Humans looking out for other humans.
Yeah.
That's it.
Boom. Drink to that.
Fuck. Sorry for all the cursing.
He's very passionate.
I always curse. God
He's
damn.
passionate.
Well, dude, I love you. Thank you for doing this. I'm about to make this man his first Impossible burger ever.
I'm only had Beyond Meat. I'm going Impossible now. Y'all wish me luck. It's gonna be delicious.
Again, thank you for tuning in to our 2-part Instagram Live
Yes.
TV. I have a very special guest on Sunday night, and then I have a very special guest Tuesday night that I'm beyond excited about. I'll tell you guys later. So please, thank you again for tuning in. Brian, thank you for literally just talking about yourself, your experiences, your perspective. I learned so much that I mean, I've known you for almost a year now, and there's so much I learned that I didn't know. And it is so important to learn everybody's perspective right now, so we can truly understand each other. And thank you. We love you guys, and please, please, please take care of each other. Oh, boy.
Nice.